The biggest complaint I've seen in the 20 bajillion comments I've got the last couple of weeks is that Netflix pulled a bait and switch with Scott Pilgrim's latest adventure. And they're not wrong, I don't disagree with that. Whether it's a good or a bad thing is what I talked about in my previous video, but it did leave me with a question. Did the marketing lie to us? Or did we lie to ourselves? Many of us were left with the initial impression that the series was going to be a very faithful recreation of the original comics. But then the first trailer dropped, and there's quite a few hints of something new in there, like Envy fighting Wallace, Ramona and Roxy falling out of a plane, or the paparazzi ninjas. These are things that we haven't seen in other Scott Pilgrim media, but there were such short, fleeting moments that they're really easy to just gloss over and not think about. And then in September, we got the first full clip, which is that scene where Scott is interrogating Julie about the existence of this mysterious purple-haired girl. And it felt really familiar. It's beat for beat the same scene as the movie. And that just left a lot of people thinking, okay, cool, this is more of the same. But check out the description of that video. Ramona now delivers DVDs for Netflix. I wonder what else is new. Thinking emoji. So Netflix is definitely leaving us a hint, but is that the only piece of information that they gave us? So I went through every single promotional video that Netflix published before the show's launch in November to see if there were any hints that we missed. What was in those 8 minutes of promotional material that hinted at the direction that the show goes in? Well, here's what I found. The first teaser shows Roxy and Ramona fighting the DVD store and falling out of a plane, Wallace and Envy fighting, and the paparazzi ninjas that don't exist in the comics or the movie. The first trailer shows Robot 01 from the comics that wasn't in the movie, the Anti-Kiss shield, and Matthew Patel's new outfits, as well as more paparazzi ninjas. The Japanese trailer features Lee getting all their letters, including Gideon, but excluding Matthew, hinting at his takeover in episode 2. The final trailer doesn't reveal anything specific, but's told from Ramona's perspective instead of Scott's.
How good could it have been? Honestly, great.
So while there's definitely hints of the new direction in all the promotional material, they're definitely vague enough that most casual viewers, and even some less casual viewers, would just assume that it's more of the same Scott Pilgrim. But there is one bit of information that is in all of the trailers that I thought was a very interesting hint that I completely missed when I was watching them. And that is that Matthew Patel is a primary focus in a lot of them. For a character that dies in Volume 1 and gets maybe 3 minutes of screen time in the movie, you'd think that he would get sidelined for the rest of the cast. But no, he gets multiple outfits and a general focus, particularly on that first fight with Scott, in all of the trailers. So I think that is Netflix's way of hinting at what was to come, though it's still pretty vague. But trailers aren't the only form of promotion leading up to a new release, right? Let's dig just a little bit deeper. Your typical publicity run is more than just trailers and teasers. Interviews with the cast and crew are probably the next biggest thing. In interviews with just about every outlet you can think of, O'Malley and Grabinski both hammered home the point that we didn't want to do the same thing, and that doing the same thing would feel like a waste of time. Even at the Comic-Con 2023 preview, O'Malley warned the audience, this isn't the same Scott Pilgrim that you're used to. And Michael Cera himself praised the show's refreshing direction, although obviously we couldn't know the details. But where does that leave us now? On one side of the fence, you've got people that are under the impression that the show is going to be more of the same Scott Pilgrim, and they're not wrong to assume that. We've got the same cast playing the same characters, the Netflix trailers very, very familiar for the most part, and definitely play on nostalgia. All the information is there to make that assumption, and it's not stupid. But on the other side of the fence, you have the creators screaming on the top of their lungs, hey, this ain't the same Scott Pilgrim. And I mean, the title is literally Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and he literally takes off. I can't answer that question for you. I've laid out the facts as it is, and whether that's enough information for you to decide whether it was a bait and switch or not is not my problem. Now, I'm definitely on the side where I was caught off guard. I wasn't expecting Scott Pilgrim Takes Off to be that. Whether it's a good or a bad thing is not the point of this video. That's what my last video was about. But if you want to hear more thoughts, go watch that one. For now, this is my last video on Scott Pilgrim. I'm done with it. But if you want to stick around and hang out with some more fun, interesting video essays, hit subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. And I'd like to see you around the next one. Peace.